My name is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso. And what I'm about to share with you isn't just another dull political story. This is about how one fiery speech sparked a revolution that is now changing the face of Africa. The crazy part, it all started with a message that might not have even been real. A few days ago, rumors spread about a statement supposedly from Benjamin Netanyahu, the leader of Israel. The message warned African leaders, do what we say, or else. Now here's the twist. I don't even care whether he actually said it or not. The very idea that someone could threaten an entire continent was enough to light a fire in me. That so-called warning revealed something ugly. The belief that Africa is still made up of weak nations that will always bend to the will of the powerful. Well, I have news for anyone who thinks that. Those days are over, and they are never coming back. But before I tell you what happened next, let me explain why this matters to you, no matter where you live. This wasn't just about one African leader losing his temper. It was about the exact moment a continent finally said, we've had enough. Enough of being pushed around for centuries. The stage was our capital city. Reporters filled the room, cameras were ready, and the air was thick with expectation. Most people assumed I would give the usual polite, carefully written speech. What they got instead was like an earthquake made of words, words that shook the world. I walked to the podium with no notes in my hand. When truth has been burning inside you for years, you don't need paper, you just need courage. Looking straight into the cameras, I knew I wasn't only speaking to that room. I was speaking to every African who had ever been silenced. Every leader pressured into selling out their people, every young dreamer who believed in a truly free Africa. Then it happened. The moment that would spread across the globe in hours. I declared, we are no longer colonies. We are free countries. If any foreign power thinks they can scare Africa into submission, they are very wrong. The silence in the room was electric. Everyone knew they were witnessing something historic. But I wasn't finished. I leaned forward and delivered the line that shocked the world. Let me make this very clear, Mr. Netanyahu. Burkina Faso doesn't take orders from Israel. We don't take orders from America. We don't take orders from anyone who thinks they can buy us or bomb us into obedience. If you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Africa is not yours to threaten. Within minutes of the speech ending, the video exploded. It didn't just go viral, it became a battle cry. Young people in Mali shared it everywhere. Farmers in Niger watched on their phones with pride they hadn't felt in years. Students in Guinea translated it into local languages. In South Africa, people turned my words into protest songs. Even more powerful was the response from other African leaders. Colonel Goda in Mali didn't just share the video. He added his own message of support. The president of Guinea stood with me publicly. Across social media, hashtags like #AfricaWilNebo and #WestEndWithDrawAre trended across the continent and beyond. This wasn't just social media noise. It was Africa waking up after years of silence. So why now? Why speak so boldly instead of keeping things polite, as leaders usually do? Because the gentle way has failed us for over 60 years. Since independence, Africa has played by everyone else's rules. We wrote letters while others stole our gold and oil. We sat through meetings where we were treated like children. We signed papers that made foreign companies rich while our people stayed poor. We smiled for cameras while foreign militaries built bases on our land. And what did that approach bring us? Nothing but continued exploitation wrapped in polite words. That so-called warning from Netanyahu, real or fake, was no different from the threats Africa has endured for centuries. Every trick, every insult, every assumption that we would simply obey. And in that moment, something inside me, something that belongs to every African tired of being disrespected, erupted. I refuse to be the leader who nods politely while his people are robbed. I refuse to stand silent while outsiders plan to strip our continent of its wealth. I refuse to allow anyone to threaten 1.4 billion Africans with impunity. And here's why this moment truly matters. This isn't happening in isolation. Across the Sahel, something extraordinary is unfolding. Mali has expelled French soldiers. Niger has shut down foreign military bases. Burkina Faso has torn up unfair agreements. For the first time, we are moving together, not as scattered nations, but as a united front. We call it the Sahel Alliance. But it's much more than military cooperation. It's a declaration that Africa is ready to control its own destiny. We are sharing intelligence, building economic ties that keep wealth inside Africa, and proving that security doesn't come from foreign armies, it comes from African unity. And this is what truly unsettles the powerful. Because my words to Netanyahu weren't just aimed at Israel. They were a message to every global power that has grown comfortable treating Africa as their personal treasure chest. It was never just about one speech. It was about telling America that Africa will not automatically fight their battles. It was about telling France that the colonial days are truly over. It was about telling China that partnership means equality, not dependence. The reaction from the world was louder in its silence than in words. Israel's government said nothing. No denial, no explanation, no outrage. That silence revealed something deeper. They never expected an African leader to call them out so openly. The Western media looked the other way, pretending the story did not exist. Why? Because it didn't fit the script they have always written about Africa. Weak leaders, bowed heads, nations begging for permission. They had no idea how to handle an Africa that speaks with power. But social media has no gatekeepers. Young Africans carried the speech across the world, millions of shares, translated into dozens of languages, turned into music, art, and poetry. My words became a conversation about dignity, about respect, about the future of this continent. And here is the truth. I never set out to be a symbol of resistance. I am just a soldier from Burkina Faso who believes his people deserve respect. Yet, when mothers say they are proud to be African again, when elders say I reminded them of the independence leaders they once followed, when young people say my words gave them hope, then I know this is bigger than me. This is about remembering who we are. We are the children of the pharaohs who built pyramids that still defy time. We are the heirs of the Mali Empire, so rich it once shook global markets. We carry the fire of Queen Nzinga, who resisted colonizers for decades. We inherit the courage of Patrice Lumumba and Thomas Sankara, who chose death over betrayal. For too long, the world told us to forget this history, to accept scraps, to remain silent. That era is ending, and it is ending now. The Sahel Alliance is growing. Leaders are standing taller. Communities are refusing to stay poor while sitting on wealth that could transform the world. The awakening that began with words to Netanyahu is spreading like wildfire, and nothing will put it out. To those who still think Africa can be threatened, listen clearly. Your pressure no longer controls us. Your threats no longer break us. Your interventions no longer define us. We are learning to stand on our own. And when we stand together, nothing on this earth can stop us. My brothers and sisters, we are living through the most important chapter of modern African history. The choices we make today will decide whether our children inherit a continent free and united, or a continent still chained to systems designed to weaken us. Share this message. Speak about it in your homes and communities. Support leaders who put Africa first. Refuse leaders who kneel to outsiders. And never forget this truth. You belong to the greatest continent on earth. A continent with enough resources to change the entire world. and people with enough strength to endure everything history has thrown at them. The future is being written now. For the first time in centuries, Africans are holding the pen. My words to Netanyahu were only the beginning. What comes next will determine whether we stay trapped or rise unstoppable. But one thing is certain. The old Africa is gone. The Africa that bowed its head is buried. A new Africa is here, free, proud, united, unshakable. No threat, no punishment, no foreign power can stop what has already begun. This is our time. This is our moment. And this is only the beginning of something the world is not ready for, but something the world desperately needs. So if you believe in this new Africa, type it in the comments. Don't let this message be silenced. Like, share, subscribe, and let the world hear the voice of a continent that refuses to kneel again.